We talk a lot about great leaders. The loud ones, the ones that always catch your attention. But what about the quiet ones? The ones who kept working when everyone left. The ones who didn't wait for applause. The ones that keep showing up. Because what I've begun to realize is that leadership is not always built in the big moments. They are also built in the small things we commit to every single day. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alin, and to me, this is what it means to be a leader. Leadership isn't winning. It's about showing up. But to truly understand what makes a great leader, I researched 5 different individuals from around the world. Winston Churchill, the English Prime Minister during World War II, showed that leadership is the courage to continue, even after failure. Douglas MacArthur, an American general, proved that true leadership is not defined by a single moment, but by the legacy we leave behind. Frida Kahlo, a Mexican artist, expressed through her work that even in suffering, we can choose to keep living fully. Nelson Mandela, a South African activist, demonstrated that strength lies in rising again, even after the hardest setbacks. And Jack Ma, a Chinese entrepreneur, showed that perseverance matters most when success feels far away. But although these individuals lived completely different lives, I started to notice a pattern. They all faced failure before success. They all struggled before being recognized. Churchill was constantly criticized. MacArthur was forced to leave his troops during the war. Kahlo was told that she might never walk again. Mandela was imprisoned for speaking up. And Jack Ma was rejected again and again, even from simple jobs like KFC. But more importantly, they didn't lead for attention. They became leaders because they kept showing up, quietly, consistently, and without needing to be seen. Churchill didn't suddenly become great when the world needed him. He'd already been continuing, even when no one believed in him. And Jack Ma didn't suddenly succeed because of one big moment. He succeeded because he kept on going, even when there seemed to be no results. Their leadership wasn't built in a single moment. It was built on the decision to continue. So maybe leadership isn't about being the most talented or being the most confident. Maybe it's simply about the ability to keep on going, especially when no one is watching. And now throughout my speech, I've told you about different leaders from different times, places, and fields. But the more I read about them, the more I realized something. Sometimes the greatest leaders don't have to be the richest, the most famous, or the most powerful, and for me, they aren't. Because the greatest leaders are often the ones closest to us. Many of you have probably seen this face around your school, or maybe in the gym. That's my brother, Alin. And to me, he's not just a silly, goofy little brother. He's someone that I've learned a lot from. But he's not someone that you would consider extraordinary. He doesn't sing very well. He can't really draw. And his grades don't match up to mine. But what I do admire about him most is how he thinks. He always dreams big, no matter the situation. And more importantly, He's not afraid to fail. Whenever he makes a mistake, whenever he fails a test, or whenever he loses a badminton match, he just lets it go and moves forward. Because to him, that's not giving up, that's moving on. And that stayed with me, not as some big idea, but as something I'm still trying to understand. Because I know there'll be moments where things don't go my way, when I feel stuck or like nothing is working. And in those moments, I don't think leadership is about suddenly becoming stronger or better. It's about staying in it, continuing when I can't see progress, holding on to why I started, even when nobody else does. Because leadership is not built solely on success. It's built through endurance, repetition, and the quiet strength to keep moving forward. So yes, the world offers us many incredible leaders, and I've shared stories of 5 I admire. But my greatest role model wasn't one of them, because sometimes the greatest leaders don't have to be the ones we read about. They're the ones closest to us. We hear about people like Mandela or Churchill, but we don't see how they react to small, ordinary moments. But we see how the people around us fail, how they act, and whether they keep on going. And without realizing it, they're shaping how we think, how we act, and who we're becoming. Because every day, in ways we don't always notice, we're influencing the people around us. And that's why showing up matters. Because sometimes, the greatest leaders are the ones who never needed a stage, just the ones who are there. And now, before I end, this might not really be a conclusion. Maybe it's just something I'm leaving for the future version of myself. The ones who will face failures that I can't even imagine yet. Because if there's one thing that I've learned, it's that life doesn't get easier. The challenges just start getting more real. And one day, I will lose again. I will fail again. I will meet moments where stopping feels easier than continuing. And when that happens, I hope I remember this: that leadership is not about being perfect or becoming someone else. It's about staying. Staying when it's uncomfortable. Staying when it's uncertain. And staying when it feels like nothing is working. And when those moments come, I hope I face them. Not by being louder or stronger, but by continuing in my own way. Because in the end, maybe it was never about becoming someone great. Maybe it was just about becoming someone who never stopped showing up. So when that moment comes, what kind of leader will you choose to be? Thank you.